Welcome, fellow travelers, to another adventure of Tales of Mystery Boosters. This is a 24-part series where I open a pack of Magic the Gathering Mystery Boosters from this box right here, and I talk about each card. It is spontaneous. I don't know what's in this pack, and so we'll be discovering the cards as we go along. I generally talk about Commander and Draft. Last episode I said Modern instead of Commander. I do follow Modern a little bit, but I generally don't play it. If you recommend that I do play it, let me know what decks are good and what's good within price ranges for today's modern meta format. But we're going to be talking about each one of these 15 cards right here. And don't forget to like and subscribe down below. And let me know what you like to see in these videos moving forward. We're going to start things off with white. White starts off with Divine Favor. Divine Favor is an enchantment aura. It's a 1 and a white. It says when it enters the battlefield, gain 3 life. Enchanted creature gets +1/+3. Not too bad. It's not that great, though. I mean, gaining life is generally not the most profitable of all mechanics that you can deal with. Now, of course, there's a lot of gain life strategies, and if you're running types of things that give you bonuses for every time you gain life and stuff like that, and if you're running enchantment synergies, this could be kind of handy to have, but I generally don't play those too much. If you do have a life gain type of commander that you recommend, let me know down in the comments below. Next up, we have Battle Mastery. It is 2 and a white for another aura. Enchanted creature has double strike. This is pretty good, actually. This hails from Battle Bond. Everybody loves double strike, and oftentimes it can be very tricky to find the best way of doing double strike. There are enchantments that give all your creatures double strike, but they can be very expensive. And this one here, when you have a creature that you'd like to have double strike, boom, you give it Battle Mastery. Moving to blue, we have Artificers Assistant, which hails from Dominaria. It's a 1/1 for 1 blue, just a blue, flying. Whenever you cast a historic spell, scry 1. This is really good. If you are looking for, if you're running, say, a legendary tribal deck or an artifact heavy deck, this is a great card to have. It curves in low. It constantly keeps paying for itself with all of those scry triggers. So Artificer's Assistant, very nice catch. Next up, we have Stitched Drake. It is 1 blue for a 3/4. As an additional cost, exile a creature card from your graveyard. So for a 3/4 for 3 is really nice, but you got to have a creature in your graveyard, and it does have flying. It's a zombie Drake. This probably isn't too bad, especially in blue-black strategies. The fact that it's blue-blue can be a little prohibitive, but I think for the most part, curving low, that's a good aggro card, especially in draft formats. Moving to black, we have Untamed Hunger. 2 and a black for an aura. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +2/+1 and has Menace. Menace is a great mechanic. It is on the verge of unblockable, but isn't. So if you have a Death Touch creature that has Menace, you can force your opponent to block more creatures, and of course they will die in the process if you're able to spread out that 1 damage each to each one. And +2/+1 is a great boost to give for an aura. Auras are generally kind of hard to deal with as a player running auras, because you can get 2 for 1 very easily. You cast an aura, your creature's removed, the aura doesn't have a target, it fizzles, it's a wasted aura. Nowadays we're seeing a lot of commanders that will actually pull auras back from the graveyard, which is a lot of help, and as well as aura strategies where you're casting enchantments, which then benefits you in other ways, Enchantress style. Next black card is Lethal Sting. Lethal Sting is 2 and a black for sorcery. As an additional cost, put a -1/-1 counter on a creature you control. Destroy target creature. This is from Amonkhet, or at least Hour of Devastation. As an additional cost, putting a -1/-1 counter. If you're running -1/-1 synergies, this can be handy. But the fact that it's a sorcery hurts it a lot. If this was 2, or if it was 1 and a black, it might be a little bit better. Or if it was an instant, it would run in a lot more decks. Moving to red, we have Krenko's Enforcer. This is 1 red for a 2/2 with Intimidate. Intimidate means that it can't be blocked except by creatures of its color or artifacts. It's kind of an evolution of Fear. Fear was originally the can't be blocked except by black creatures and artifact creatures, this is so it can be blocked by artifacts or red creatures. And the fact that it's a goblin warrior makes this a little bit more playable in a lot of tribal strategies. Dual Shot is our next red for 1 red, and it's an instant, deals 1 damage to each of up to 2 target creatures. So you can deal 1 damage to 1 creature or 1 damage to 2 creatures. You can ping off little tokens, and if you're doing things where if a creature was dealt damage, that creature is destroyed or something like that, that's really the best way to handle this. This really probably works best in draft formats than it does in a lot of constructed play. Moving to green, we come to one of my favorite land ramp cards. It is Search for Tomorrow. Search for Tomorrow is 2 and a green for sorcery. Search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield, doesn't say tapped, then shuffle your library. The great thing about this is that it has Suspend 2 for 1 green. So you can drop this for a green. It goes into the suspend pile for 2 turns. It's got the 2 time counters on it. And then at the beginning of your upkeep, on that second turn, it'll get cast and you get your land. And so, especially in formats like Commander, you're not having to invest 3 mana into it. You're just investing time. And since Commander tends to go for 9, 10, sometimes 15 or longer, depending on how the commanders interact with each other, this can be a great card to drop early, and it can be a card that you can throw out late and not feel like it's too much of an investment. Search for Tomorrow. Really like it. Next up, we have Might of the Masses, which is just a green. It's an instant. Target creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each creature you control. This is great for go-wide strategies. This is great for elves. If you're running an elf ball deck, you got 10 elves on the battlefield, you just gave your creature +10/+10, which is pretty baller, especially for green. Like just 1 green. I have a Galta Primal Hunger elf ball strategy. So you drop elves, which gives elves bonuses like +1/+1 kind of anthem effects. Also the fact that they tap for mana makes it very easy to get Galta out really early. And then you drop Might of the Masses, and then Galta now is a 20/20 or whatever. And with that, you can definitely, you can definitely one-shot people with Might of the Masses out of nowhere. Pretty neat. Might have to give that a try. Moving to the multicolored card. Multicolored card, we have Shardless Agent. It is an artifact creature human rogue for 1 green and blue. So Simic. It's a 2/2 with Cascade. Ooh, Cascade is a fun mechanic we don't see too often. When you cast this spell, exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land card that costs less. So 2 or less for this one. You may cast it without paying its mana cost. Put the exiled card. Oh, so you get a 2 for 1 right there. You get 2 cards for the price of 1. At this rate, you're probably building your deck with a low curve, probably a lot of 2 and 1 casting cost things. You'll probably get a mana rock out of this. The fact this is an artifact creature means that artifact synergies go really well with this. This is a neat card. I believe it's from Anthologies. Commander anthologies. Very neat. Awesome. Moving to the colorless card, we have MSc Tome. It's 4 for an artifact. Pay 5 and tap it, draw 2 cards, then discard a card. Not too bad. Not too bad. This goes really well in white decks because, well, white doesn't have a lot of card draw. Moving to the old card, the old bordered card, we have Gitu Warcry. It is 2 and a red for an enchantment, and it says red, target creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Okay, so Gitu Warcry is basically an enchantment that gives all of your creatures fire breathing. You can think about it that way. Fire breathing is an old enchantment that you enchant the creature, and then you can pay a red, and it gives it +1/+0 until end of turn, and that stacks. So for every red that you pay into it, you can boost its power even more. So Gitu Warcry, not too bad of an investment, especially if you're running strong red decks or red something decks. You can get your creatures to perform a little bit better. Next up, we've got the rare card. It is Rune-Scarred Demon. 5 black for a 6/6 flying demon. When it enters the battlefield, search your library for a card, put it into your hand, and shuffle your library. It's a tutor. It's a big tutor. You can probably trick this guy out by bringing him back from the graveyard, because it's an enters the battlefield, not a cast trigger. Nowadays, they're trying to force a lot of cast triggers in there to kind of get around that whole ETB thing. You can flicker it and bring it back over and over again. Very neat, very neat. Moving on to Morrow. Morrow is our foil card. Ooh. Morrow is actually named after Mark Rosewater. He was apparently a big fan of this card. It's 2 green for an elemental. It has stars for its power and toughness because it says Morrow's power and toughness are each equal to the number of cards in your hand. That's fantastic. You got 7 cards, he's a 7/7. Fact is that he doesn't have trample or anything like that. He might be a good base to mutate onto. Until, of course, he runs out of... Yeah. Interesting. No 2 see the same Morrow. Well, that is all 15. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to like and subscribe down below and let me know what cards you hope to see and what you'd like me to talk about in our next video. And maybe I will. We'll see you next time.